Where other characters get a lot of unwarranted hate, some just don't receive much attention at all, such as Sue Storm, who I only see people discuss when it involves some form of objectification, whether it's false claims that she cheats on Reed with no evidence besides panels taken out of context from comics that they haven't read, or people getting a bit too excited about her Marvel Rivals alternate skin, which has a very gross origin. Even the best runs on the Fantastic Four rarely give her the spotlight. Susan is sorely underappreciated when it comes to her personality, her immense power, and the way she shapes the group dynamic. So I would like to touch on a few of the things that make her so special, as well as talk about why I think she deserves better. It goes without saying that each member of the FF's power set is indicative of their personality in some way, which is why it's funny that she tends to go ignored, but it's also where Susan is unique, as she has more than one ability. If anything, Sue's force fields tend to be her most useful. Though she doesn't always receive enough appreciation, she tends to be the most reliable, on top of being fiercely protective of her family. Sue is often considered to be the mom of the group. While at times a reductive description, it doesn't come without reason. After all, she raised Johnny years before ever having kids of her own, and as a result, tends to look out for him in a way a mother would. In almost every run, Ben is almost always guaranteed to receive an arc that explores his self-loathing. Modern runs love to explore Reed's guilt, and Johnny is a flaming bundle of insecurity. The guys are introspective to a fault, with a tendency to get in their own way. Sue, on the other hand, was quicker to accept her new way of life after the accident that gave the four their powers, being the one to come up with their matching costumes. She definitely adjusted quicker than Ben. She was forced to grow up faster than Johnny. And where Reed is hyperfixated on finding a way to solve everything in the future, Susan thinks about the present. It's not exactly the life she asked for, which can be frustrating at times. Just as her force fields were not an ability present in the first issue of Fantastic Four, her role within the group was one that developed over time. Her dreams of becoming a movie star were tossed aside after the accident, along with any semblance of a normal life. In Marvel Knights 4, after the FF go bankrupt and have to look for regular jobs, no one is there to pick Franklin up from school, because Sue has to work and Reed is preoccupied with beating the stock market. Susan is immeasurably disappointed in Reed, understandably so, given how many enemies they've made over the years. But after Reed cleans up his act, and even uses this as a chance to give his family the average life they were robbed of, Sue is the one to turn it down, the one who wishes to return to the way things were. This may not be the life she always envisioned, but she loves it all the same. The same goes for her powers, which she has learned to embrace, now considering them a gift. If Susan wanted to, she could even live like a queen. Some men definitely wouldn't hesitate to make her one, but that wouldn't be any fun, not when she can see the universe. That brings her fulfillment like none could understand, save for 3 other people. So why wouldn't she want to protect them at all costs? It's in the moments where their lives are in peril and the FF's adventures appear to near their end that Sue really gets to let loose, proving herself to be the most powerful member of the team without a doubt. I love the moment in the 7th issue of Marvel Knights 4 where she single-handedly holds an alien ship in place as it's taking off to save a captured Reed, who doesn't fear for his life in the slightest, because he knows Susan will save him. Or the moment in Fantastic Four issue 549, after Sue and Reed's second honeymoon is interrupted by the Frightful Four, where she damn near kills the wizard. Over the years, her powers have only gotten stronger. She can create constructs with her force fields. She has single-handedly defeated Doctor Doom more than once, and she's already an excellent fighter, good enough to hold her own against the likes of Iron Fist. Sue has saved the others countless times over, in more ways than one. She stepped up to lead the team when Reed was presumed dead. She's been described as Reed's moral compass, even if that means directly opposing him, like she did during the Superhuman Registration Act. With all this in mind, it's especially unfortunate that the character's many standout moments are scattered into bits and pieces. She rarely gets to be the focal point of a run. And as for those that have been hugely influential, showing Susan come into her own, ditching the Invisible Girl title, taking charge when the time calls for it, well, those stories aren't what I'd call timeless. She wore the Malice costume when she was under the influence of the Psycho Man. Sue only changed her name from Invisible Girl to Invisible Woman because of what she went through. It was presented as Susan having been robbed of her innocence, playing into the trope of female characters losing their girlhood after being taken advantage of. And need I say anything about the costume Sue acquires in Fantastic Four issue 371, which may be the epitome of everything wrong with 90s redesigns. Of course, Namor liked it though. I can appreciate the attempt, and Susan's shift in attitude is noticeable in subsequent runs, but not so much her role. For the most part, she stays firmly in the role of support, back to putting up with Reed's bullshit, waiting on him to find a solution to whatever problem they happen to be facing. Arcs like Rising Storm, in which Sue is initially chosen to be the Herald of Galactus, only for the Storm siblings to swap powers, end up telling us a lot more about Johnny. This problem with these depictions becomes especially apparent when comparing them to the current run, which drastically increases Susan's role and displays so many inventive uses of her powers, even when an issue isn't centered around her. It's telling that Alicia Masters gets as much shine in this single run as Susan does in the majority of them, and Alicia isn't even part of the FF, she's a civilian. Susan's force field constructs are not only more elaborate than ever before, but work in tandem with the rest of the team. Take the 18th issue for example, where the four work together to stop a storm of invisible asteroids. In order to do so, Susan constructs a cannon for Johnny to power whilst Ben and Reed aim. The run even gives Sue interests that don't revolve around her family, while simultaneously recontextualizing Susan's relationship with her family in a very wholesome way, by making her an archaeologist, as it turns out she studied archaeology before getting her powers. It makes complete sense that she and Reed would fall for each other. They can match one another's fascination with the world around them, and desire to uncover its many secrets. They're equally in love with adventure as they are with each other. There's an issue where Sue takes Reed back in time to the Pleistocene as an anniversary gift, so they can witness the first arrival of humans in America. Thanks to Sue's invisibility, she and Reed don't need to worry about interfering with history. It's so fucking sweet, oh my god. When given the chance and written with enough care, the Invisible Woman is as valuable to the team as any of the other three, as well as its standout member. As exciting as their stories can be, and as dedicated as they are to exploration in the pursuits of the betterment of mankind, the FF are rooted in tragedy. Most of them live with some form of regret. Reed wonders what might have happened if he hadn't been so arrogant. Johnny struggles to find a long-lasting connection, and Ben blinks twice every time he looks in the mirror. But Sue? She wouldn't trade being the Invisible Woman for anything. Susan doesn't love her family in spite of the things that some might find strange and off-putting. She loves her family because of them. The guys may oftentimes not, but Susan knows exactly what makes the Four so fantastic. That's why, without Sue Storm, there is no Fantastic Four. It's time she finally got her due. Too often is the character reduced to little more than Reed's spouse, Johnny's sister, and Franklin and Valeria's mother, as opposed to those simply being a few of the many facets that make up this well-rounded member of the team. I've been critical of their scarcity, and if we're being realistic, some male writers simply treat the character as an afterthought, but these are developments that readers have witnessed play out in real time. Readers saw the wedding, her pregnancies, her miscarriage. Readers have watched her kids grow up alongside her. Readers have watched her grow from a damsel in distress to a hero capable of damaging a celestial. Readers have seen her become the team's powerhouse, the secret weapon. And even after 60 plus years, her full potential is still yet to be realized. For whatever reason, to many people, she easily fades into the background, but I just can't seem to take my eyes off the Invisible Woman.